It's Friday morning. No stoplights. I'm Kennard. I want to thank our title sponsor, MPD Electric Cooperative, the lowest rates in the entire southeastern United States of any utility, committed to remain the most reliable, lowest cost provider, committed to serving the entire PD region. Thank you to MPD Electric Cooperative as our title sponsor. Also want to thank our list of sponsors: Victor's, Francis Marion University, Carolina Bank, Pepsi of Florence, Micky PLC, Commercial Real Estate, Florence County Legislative Delegation, and McCall Farms. Donald Trump takes all the air out of the room, but local politics still matter. We may dedicate the entire balance of this broadcast to local politics. Owners get special treatment in professional sports, college sports, entertainment. Sponsors also get special treatment. And I've got one of the owners of one of the companies that sponsor our television show, our digital presence, is Micky. You've heard me read off this list many, many times. The name Micky Party Shop, but occasionally politics intersects with business, and we have an issue that has a direct impact on our state, on our community, as well as one of our sponsors. And today is one of those times that I want to try to break down as best I know how what the House, Senate are trying to deal with in regards to South Carolina's blue laws. We are, and historically have been, the buckle of the Bible Belt. And I think the majority of businesses respect that we're the buckle of the Bible Belt. I jokingly say from time to time, I'm a libertarian socialist. I love my government. I don't care much for yours. But philosophically, I am for limited government. I am for less government. I am for the empowerment of the private sector. And the General Assembly and soon counties will deal with an issue that addresses the tradition and history of South Carolina as we change, as we go from 3.5 million people to 5.5 million people. And I've asked Rick Havekost, owner of Micky, to join us today. And we want to discuss kind of an issue that's near and dear to his heart and important to your business. First, Rick, thank you for the sponsorship and welcome to No Stoplights.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go down the road of what we're trying to discuss and why you're an advocate for changing some of the South Carolina blue laws. Exactly what are you asking the General Assembly to consider?
There's two bills out there. 4001 is one of them. It's about Sunday sales. It's an option. So we're not changing the liquor laws that you have to open or anyone has to open. What it is a local referendum that would allow you or allow the council to put it on a referendum, and then the public would vote whether you could have a liquor license on Sunday. And that bill has hours from 1 to 5. It's very limited. There's another bill out there that are normal hours 9 to 7. I guess that'll get worked out which bill gets through. But what we're looking for is the opportunity to convince the county council to allow us to put it on a referendum that would allow the public to vote yay or nay. If they vote nay, then we move forward and we fight that battle 2-3 years down the road again. And then at which point it would allow me to apply for a license, open up on Sundays if I choose. I have 3 stores here. Probably the only one that I would open up for sure would be the one out on the interstate by Buc-ee's. That's all out-of-state traffic, out-of-state business, and out-of-state dollars that would flow through here. So I don't even know if I would open my stores on Sunday. The other thing is on Sunday, there's certain Sundays you would. July 4th will fall on a Sunday every so often. The Heritage is on a Sunday. The race is on a Sunday. You have Super Bowl Sundays. You have holiday weekends like Memorial Day and Labor Day that it would make sense. We also are a corridor to the beach, so there's a lot of beach goers that are on the way to the beach that are checking in. They can't check in until 4 o'clock at the beach, and by the time to get the kids settled, the liquor stores close at 7. They don't reopen until Monday morning at 9 a.m. So they're mad, they're frustrated. It will allow us to have the revenue, and the revenue out there. There's numbers I get from Bruce Lee and Baron Irvin. Over 75 to 80% of my customers and the people that stop at Buc-ee's are from out of state. So you're looking at the 8% sales tax on all that revenue. The revenue that it's low hanging fruit for money that would help Florence County Horry County, Georgetown County, wherever that alcohol was sold. It's really kind of crazy that I'm heading this charge here that the people in Horry County and some of these other counties aren't pushing it, where the tourism is at an all-time high. And I said this to you a minute. I don't want to get long-winded here, but we deliver to the beach 3 days a week, 6 days, or 6 days a week, 3 times a day, full vans, over and over and over. And we can't deliver on Sunday, on the weekends. And I can't believe the restaurants are like, why can you not deliver to me? The Claw House, Wicked Tuna, one of their busiest weekends, Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th weekend. And we have to close at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. And we do not reopen until 9 a.m. Monday morning. And explaining that to people from Ohio and Florida and Georgia or Virginia, and they're like, what are you talking about? And the irony of this is you can go to a restaurant and buy and then be forced to drive home, hopefully Uber. But you can't buy, when you get to the beach, your family and said, let's make margaritas and cook out on Saturday night or Sunday night. You can't do that. If you want to do that, you actually have to go leave your business or leave your rental or your house and then drive back. And South Carolina has always been about choice here. And for whatever reason, this one law, nobody will put on a referendum. We got the beer and wine pass. We were, I think, the last or second to last county to get beer and wine pass this last cycle. We put on a referendum and it passed like 65, 67%. So we have beer and wine sales now, but liquor has to come from the state house. It's going to have to be voted on the House, the Senate. The governor would sign it in, not into law, just to allow our local representatives, and I'm sure I would have to convince them, William Schofield and the whole lot, I'd have to convince them on the reasons why. Probably economic impact is the way I would approach that. And if it would, they would allow me to put it on the referendum, I'm sure it would pass. All these referendums always pass. And then it's money for the county.
And Rick, you've always said, I mean, if you led me to believe, I got no interest in disrespecting the Sabbath. I mean, the people that go to church and Sunday's a big part of their life and they look at it fundamentally different. I mean, they have a right to continue to look at Sunday that way. But I think the unique part of South Carolina is 30%, I think 15% of the revenue generated via a tax come from people who don't live in South Carolina, and accommodating that sort of tourism, generating that sort of revenue, I think is in our state's best interest.
I don't know what the number one tax generating, engine is in South Carolina. Tourism has to be up there, whether that's sales tax, gas tax. Everybody's got to get here. Everybody's got to leave and fill up their tank. So, I don't know how they calculate the tourism dollars, but I can't think of another industry in this state that generates more revenue than people from out of state. And so if you can use any vehicle to raise, and listen, I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to be open, and will I make a profit on that? I will. And I will pay income tax to the state, and I will pay income tax to the federal government, and I will, do all those things. But I will collect an enormous amount of revenue for the state, through the liquor tax, which is on the bottles and bond when they come in, through the sales tax and all the other things that we sell. So it's a revenue stream that doesn't affect one person. You don't have to raise a millage. You don't have to do anything else. You're letting the people that pass through. When you go to Florida, they don't have income tax. They basically have 8, 9, 10, 12, 13% sales tax. And they figured it out. Let's let the people that are visiting our beautiful state have a little piece of the pie. They're using our roads. Let's charge a tax on it, and I'm not asking for another tax. I'm just talking about for the already in place sales tax. It's already here.
Is it fair to argue that it should be this difficult? I mean, if we're going to change the blue laws in good old Southern traditional South Carolina, it should require the General Assembly. It should require local government. It should require the input of the public.
Ken, I've said this to you before on a previous interview. I like South Carolina. The reason why I've been able to thrive in South Carolina is because the laws are a little outdated. You're only allowed a certain number of stores in the state, which doesn't allow liquor to be sold in grocery stores. So I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I like a lot of the laws and the way it progresses slowly, but there has been a lot of movement in this state. You used a number of 3.5 million to 5.5 million. I think you're undershooting that. I think by the time I get out of this game, there'll be 9 million people living here. I'm driving to the beach from here, and I don't know how long it's going to take me. So anyway, we can share in the revenue from people visiting our beautiful state is where I'm going. So the General Assembly being slow, I'm again talking out both sides of my mouth. I don't have a problem with it, but this is a choice. Nobody's saying the liquor stores have to be open. You're just saying to allow the local government I got to convince the council to do this. I mean, this journey I'm on, I'm on the first 100 yards of a 6-mile journey. I still got to convince everyone else to put it on the referendum, and we need to do our studies and do the background if it's going to be worth, you always use as the juice worth the squeeze. Well, I think it would be. And then we go forth from that. And then after that, the public would have to decide. And then they can say no. And there's going to be pockets in the state that will say no. I would imagine the coastal regions will pass it immediately. Columbia would pass with the college towns, and they'd pass it immediately. I would hope Florence County would pass it. I'm talking about the public vote. And then after you do all that, you got to apply for the license. You got to get approved through DOR and SLED. And then you have to decide whether you want to open. So I think in Florence, the city limits of Florence or Florence County, we'll just use a number of 50 liquor stores. If I had to guess on Sunday, not more than 5 would open.
But it's their choice. They've made that determination, not some antiquated blue law that requires them to do X, Y, or Z.
Correct. Let it be a choice. And you're taking the one last choice out of this. You don't have to shop. Not only do you not have to open, the person doesn't have to stop at the store. And if you resent that store for opening on Sunday, you can shop at a different store on Monday. The idea here is choice. Bring in a little bit of revenue, help out the county, help out the state, help out the tourism, help out the reputation, the freedom of it, and move on. I'm not going to ruffle a bunch of feathers doing this. I'm going to be vocal. I want it to happen. I think it's progress. I think it's progress for the state, and it's low-hanging fruit on the tax side.
I think that's well explained. And good old South Carolina prides itself in the freedoms to choose. What better example of the freedom to choose? If you choose to go to church, go to church. If you choose to not drink, don't drink. But if you choose to drink, I think you should have that option on Sunday, no matter what the time of day is. Back in just a few.
Discover your future at Francis Marion University, where education meets inspiration. With a faculty dedicated to your success, you'll learn from the best in their field. Our diverse academic programs are designed to spark your passion, provide hands-on experience, and prepare you for your future beyond the classroom. Join us at Francis Marion University, where you'll grow, explore, and thrive as you prepare to take the next step in your journey.
Hey, grab me one too.
At Carolina Bank, we pride ourselves on offering the best and most aligning services to our customers and clients. We're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors, your friends, and your partners in growth. We believe in the power of small businesses, the backbone of our community. That's why we offer tailored small business loans and commercial lending solutions. The relationships we've been able to cultivate over time as a local family business have proven to be a sustainable force for both businesses and the community in which it serves, helping you turn your business dreams into reality. We are and always have been a full-service bank, providing our customers with the right guidance and services specific to their needs. Carolina Bank, building on tradition since 1936.
Shell, yeah, there they are! Peanut Patch boiled peanuts.
Oh, I've heard of these.
Y'all come get your Peanut Patch boiled peanuts, the South's favorite snack.
Looks like y'all are ready to get the boil rolling. Taste the caviar of the South. Oh, these are the best boiled peanuts.
Reminds me of the peanuts my grandpa used to go and boil when I was growing up.
From roadside stands to kettles and cans.
Let Peanut Patch boiled peanuts bring the taste of the South right to your mouth.
Find Peanut Patch boiled peanuts in stores nationwide.
A Rubik's Cube is confusing, but nowhere near as confusing as South Carolina Blue Laws. Rick Havekost, proprietor of Micky Fins, was with us a second ago. I've invited William Schofield. William is chairman of Florence County Council, and William has been one to be open-minded about, I don't want to say offending some of the legacy issues in South Carolina, some of the traditions of South Carolina, but William understands that this is a very different South Carolina than it was 25 or 30 years ago. And if you don't change with the times, you begin to lose some ground. So Councilman or Chairman Schofield has agreed to join us. William, how are you?
Doing good. Good morning.
You have been more open-minded than historically local governments in the PD have. What has been your motivation? I'm not saying, are you for Sunday drinking? Are you for Sunday retail? But as a chairman of county council, you have an obligation to the public. Why have you been a little more open-minded about wine and beer and some of the blue laws that I feel are a bit antiquated in South Carolina?
I mean, it really boils down to that. I just try to think outside the box on a lot of different things. But number one is it's not my choice. I believe in putting things to a referendum like the beer and wine sales that happened when we were on city council. Now it just happened while I was on county council. We put it up for referendum and it passed overwhelmingly. I'm a big proponent in believing that the people should have their say in that. I mean, whose job is it? Because it ain't the government's to tell me I can be open 6 days a week, but not 7. I mean, that's up to the business owner. And if the business owner doesn't want to be open on Sunday, that's their prerogative. I'm not going to be open on Sunday. My businesses are going to stay closed.
But that's your prerogative.
But that's my business. If another business wants to be open on Sunday, by all means, be open on Sunday. That's your choice.
Walk me through. So you were asked to consider Sunday sales of wine and beer. Walk me through that process. How did it go from city and county council to a referendum? And I guess the engagement of the public and the informing of the public on exactly what they're voting for.
Sure. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 now, for the city of Florence's beer and wine referendum. And then this past November, the last referendum for beer and wine was on the county's ballot. I believe it was in the upper 80s on the city council side when it passed by the public, not by city council. But to start this, I mean, you have to get each respective council to agree to even put it on the ballot. Well, none of us want to try and tell anyone what they can and can't do as far as trying to be their judge and jury like that. It's your choice. Whether it's right or wrong, it's your choice. And I think that's where most of the council members in this county, period, not just in the city of Florence and in Florence County Council, I mean, we want to do what's right and allow the public to have input.
William, you can't speak for the council. You heard Rick Havekost, owner of Micky Fins. It's dependent upon what the House and Senate do. Yeah. If the House and Senate pass a bill that allows Florence County local government to issue a referendum that the public votes on, I got to believe you're supportive of that.
I'm supportive of a referendum for it. I mean, there's no reason why not to. I mean, I would gladly try and convince others to allow a referendum for that. But because, I mean, again, here we go back to it again. That should go back to the public and let them vote on it. What's better than that? I mean, That's what we're given the right to do.
You're a younger guy. I actually served with William's father on Florence County Council back in the day. He's since passed away and had a big influence and a big impact on my commitment to public service. But do you believe having a forward-looking and visionary perspective creates more economic development? I find you to be more open-minded than previous chairmen of county council. Do you believe that open-mindedness will pay off as people consider to open a business in Florence, to live in Florence, to spend their money in Florence?
I mean, open-mindedness is what's going to get us anywhere, to be honest, because if you can't be open-minded, you can't even begin to develop a vision or see someone else's vision. If you're closed into one little box, you're never going to be able to see what's on both sides of you. It's tunnel vision. Why would you want to be stuck with tunnel vision when you can have a full perspective and actually see the full potential?
Has it been hard to convince fellow council members who are married to the days gone by to kind of, I don't want to say forsake our history or our heritage, but to look in a visionary way at what we could become if we think a little, and I'll use your word, out of the box?
No, they don't push back. I mean, they're very receptive of trying to come up with new ways to get things done for Florence County. They want Florence to grow. Period. End of story. Everyone is on the same page of trying to make sure Florence grows, but in a responsible manner. And by that, I mean, we don't want to be ending up like some of the beach communities that are just getting over inundated with properties and they're building too fast that the infrastructure can't keep
Overdevelopment.
up. Yeah. I mean, that's what more people are worried about with that than anything. We all want new grocery stores. We all want new shops. We all want new restaurants. And, you know, some of that's going to come from the big box industries coming in, but some of that's going to come from some of the new local people that move here. They're going to open up the new restaurants and open up the new clothing stores. And you've got to be able to support the local businesses and have their back, because without them, the larger businesses aren't going to come either.
Do you feel like the county council has become more business friendly? Are there things you can do to make it more advantageous to open and run a business in Florence County?
I think Florence County has always been business advantageous. I mean, I would have imagined we would have heard of that long ago while my father was on council if it wasn't. I think we're already pro-business in Florence County.
Is the issue Rick's talking about important as it relates to economic development? I mean, he's talking about, you know, more tax revenues that make their way into the county government. I got to believe that
all that money goes toward, that goes towards different things like the hospitality tax, et cetera. And those things fund things like the Miracle League and other sports and tourism items, the museum. All that is funded. I mean, Buc-ee's alone brings in an enormous amount of hospitality tax dollars. And that's what allows us to do some of the things that you see us getting done.
very well explained. Thank you very much.
Shell, yeah, there they are. Peanut Patch boiled peanuts.
Oh, I've heard of these.
Y'all come get your Peanut Patch boiled peanuts, the South's favorite snack.
Looks like y'all are ready to get the boil rolling. Taste the caviar of the South. Oh, these are the best boiled peanuts.
Reminds me of the peanuts my grandpa used to go and boil when I was growing up.
From roadside stands to kettles and cans. Let Peanut Patch boiled peanuts bring the taste of the South right to your mouth. Find Peanut Patch boiled peanuts in stores nationwide.
Hey, grab me one too.
Discover your future at Francis Marion University, where education meets inspiration. With a faculty dedicated to your success, you'll learn from the best in their field. Our diverse academic programs are designed to spark your passion, provide hands-on experience, and prepare you for your future beyond the classroom. Join us at Francis Marion University, where you'll grow, explore, and thrive as you prepare to take the next step in your journey.
At Carolina Bank, we pride ourselves on offering the best and most aligning services to our customers and clients. We're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors, your friends, and your partners in growth. We believe in the power of small businesses, the backbone of our community. That's why we offer tailored small business loans and commercial lending solutions. The relationships we've been able to cultivate over time as a local family business have proven to be a sustainable force for both businesses and the community in which it serves, helping you turn your business dreams into reality. We are and always have been a full-service bank, providing our customers with the right guidance and services specific to their needs. Carolina Bank, building on tradition since 1936.
There's an old saying in politics to not pay attention to the shiniest object because the others are probably more important. Donald Trump, as I said earlier, has been the shiny object. He takes all the air out of the room. The majority of the political commentariat class have paid close attention, favorably and not so favorably, to the actions of Donald Trump. We spent a good bit of time talking about local politics today, and local politics matters. I'm thinking about 90 to 100,000 local governments in America today. The state of Illinois alone has nearly 7,000 local governments. So you've got the federal government where Donald Trump is that shiny object, the majority of attention, the majority of punditry, the majority of comments, the majority of controversy has been around Donald Trump and what he's trying to do at the federal level. You got state government. You heard from Rick Havekost discuss counting on the Senate, counting on the House, and then you've got the local governments. And I've always felt, as a member of a former member of a county council and a statewide elected official, that the most effective way to govern is government closest to the people. But at times we get so distracted and enamored with the shiny objects that we're not as informed about local government as we should be informed. I live in the PD. I grew up in Pamplico, now reside in Florence. And a lot of my life has been apolitical, not paying much attention to politics. I would have been the Seinfeld watcher, is what I describe those today that have a more passive interest in American politics. But when I look at what has happened to America as a fairly conservative person, it's that we've allowed local, state, and federal government to take more control of our economies, our cities, our counties, our states, and in the end, our nation. And I think it's really time America awakens and not get distracted by the shiny object that is Donald Trump, but pay closer attention to, once again, where government meets the road. That be the city and the county governments. There's a particular issue that I've covered on our radio show, Wake Up Carolina, that I think is very important and critical and needs to be further examined. And that is some of these local governments imposing a fee. And it's not really a fee because it's based on a revenue. So in my opinion, a revenue-based fee is a tax. I don't know that the state or federal government have ever endorsed a revenue-based fee. They will call it a tax. They will say, we've raised your tax. Your marginal tax rate is X. Your statutory tax rate is Y. Your effective tax rate is one thing. But I'm deeply offended and bothered and trying to raise awareness that some of these 90 to 100,000 local governments imposing taxes, disguising themselves as fees. Florence City Council has a business license tax that they call a business license fee. And I think it's incumbent upon us, the consuming public, businesses in particular that have most at risk, to really further evaluate and really be conscientious about who is in charge of your local government. We had William Schofield here a second ago. He's chairman of county council. He has a kind of a hand in the stirring of the pot that governs our fine city here, or fine county here in Florence. This is broadcast in Horry County and Georgetown County and Marion and Dillon and Marlborough County. And very often the majority of us are so distracted on the Trump economic agenda or the Trump immigration policy, or is Trump going too fast and breaking too many things. And I want to remind our viewers that you will encounter some issue your local government has placed before you far many more times than you will the state or federal government. So pay attention. Be conscientious. Get involved. Know who your county, city and county council members are. Know who your school board members are. Don't get totally and completely distracted by the shiny object.